We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. Hello. My name is Chelp. My pronouns are they, them, whoa. And this is Phasecraft Collective, your weekly check-in with the tarot to get the vibes, to see what's possible, to see what kind of energy is available for the week to come. First and foremost, have to start off with an apology because straight up, when preparing to record this today, realized I just forgot to do this last week. Just didn't even think that I had a weekly podcast that I should maybe record. In my defense, it was my birthday. I turned 31 on Sunday, which is usually the day that I record. And I had taken the day off from like my little side job that I usually go to on Sunday afternoons. I'd taken Monday off from my full-time job. So like, I just was not in the headspace for it. So my apologies that I left you without a reading last week. I'm not going to say it'll never happen again because it certainly will. I know myself too well. And there's a solid chance that it'll happen again. But I will do my best to not let it happen again. Second of all, yeah, I have a slightly different setup. I needed some change. Something about me is that like I have always loved just like rearranging, decorating, reorganizing my space my entire life. I used to like rearrange my room by myself in the middle of the night when I was 12 years old. Like that's just how I am. And in the apartment I live in now, the way that like the windows and the radiators and everything are set up, there are very little things that we can do to rearrange the space. Like the way that we have things is pretty much the way that they have to be. Except for in this room, I have a little bit of extra freedom. And I've moved around like my desk and stuff a few times, and it's just like never stuck. Like there's always been something that's like, this isn't working. But I think I finally found a setup that feels good without having to buy like a whole new thing. I did buy one bookshelf, this one right here. I spent $32 to rearrange my space and it feels so good. So anyway, that's that on that. I will say I do have 2 cats in this space with me right now. They're very sweet and sleepy over by the window. And hopefully they just stay asleep while I do this video. But if not, there might be a weird cut where I have to like let one of my cats out. This will mean though I'm closer to the door now, so anytime one of my cats does decide they want to say something or try to get in, that will be much more obvious. So if you love the cat cameos, you're in luck. Cool, sweet, totally. So anyway, we are in the middle, not in the middle, but we're in the midst, well, kind of in the middle of Mercury retrograde, which is also what I'm blaming. Whoop. And a bunch of things just fell. It's fine. Also what I'm blaming last week's like miss of recording on is the Mercury retrograde. We're midway through our Venus retrograde, so that also like if you've been feeling the like urge to cut your hair or like change your style or like do anything different regarding like appearance, beauty, relationships, like sense of self, like if you've been feeling called to like those self-care moments, that's very much the vibe. I know, I mean that's partially why the like urge to rearrange my space definitely came up. Anyway, there's a lot going on, as always. So let's just dive in. Let's see what the cards have to say about it. I'm using the Apparition tarot deck by Spirit Speak this week. This is the first deck I ever purchased for myself. It's the second deck I ever owned. My first one was gifted to me by my partner, but I very quickly bought this one for myself. And I don't bring it out too often anymore, but it felt like it wanted to speak today. So let's see. And yes, I do actually have a tattoo of the card backs. Cute! Okay, now I'm just rambling. So, let's get started. If this is your first time here with me, well, first of all, hello. As always, the intros are such a... Oh, I have water. It's fine. The intros are always such, like, I don't know, a wild, introduction to me as a person and as a reader, but welcome. Thanks for being here. We always begin by taking a few minutes to breathe and ground and center together, to cast a little circle, to set a little container, to make sure that we're in the right headspace for this moment. So, if you'd like, you can join me in closing your eyes. If it feels better to just let your gaze settle down at your cheeks or land somewhere else out in space, that is also perfectly fine. Just take a couple of breaths here. Feel your shoulders rising and falling. Your rib cage expanding and softening. And just become aware of wherever your body is making contact with the ground. Whether it's your feet on the floor, your seat in a chair, your back on a bed. Feel into that anchor, that place where you can feel gravity holding you, the earth supporting you. Let the weight of your physical form ground you in this moment. And here I'm going to call to the spirits and guardians of the elements, and as I name them, I invite you to imagine their essence, their force, creating an additional barrier of protection around you. You might see a circle of salt. Maybe you see a ring of fire igniting, flames shooting up to the sky. Maybe you see air, smoke swirling around in a force field. Maybe waves crash in from the corners of your space, leaving you on an island in the middle. Maybe beams of sunlight shine down in a circle, holding you in their warmth. Maybe you see something else altogether. Maybe you see a combination of things. Whatever comes to mind is right, is your magic, and it is here for you. I call to the spirits and guardians of the north, of earth, of the deepest roots and the tallest trees, the stardust that gave shape to this planet and to our bones. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the east, of air, of wind and breath, of thought and change. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the south, of fire, the life-giving sun, and the powers of creation and destruction, cleansing and renewal. Hail and welcome. And I call to the spirits and guardians of the west, of water, of the oceans and our blood, the rivers and our sweat, the rain and our tears. Hail and welcome. We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. You can take a couple more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Cool. I feel like every time I inhale, there's like a whistle. I've got like, I don't know, the season's changing. Shit's dry for me up in here. Oh, my cats just resettled in, and they're in a perfect little like circle of croissants together. Wow. I love that for them. Wow. Okay. Right away. Two of Pentacles. We're looking for balance here this week. That was a lot. Oh, okay. Definitely that one. Hate to say it, but the Tower's here. I don't hate to say it. If we do not find that balance, we will swiftly find that everything starts to fall apart. Yep. Three of Swords. Okay, the vibes are a little heavy so far. And Judgment. Okay. Maybe this deck is just mad at me for not using it for so long. That was a big group. Okay, so this one stays. Okay, the vibes are very... not quite liminal, but transitional this week. Transitional and big. Yeah. Transitional and big. There's reckonings. There's standing up for self. Oh, whoa. And then all of a sudden, 3 cups. Okay, that's like a beautiful kind of ending here. Anything else? Yeah, more cups. More cups. Whoa, okay, 9 and 10 of cups. They came out together. And it's not that this deck hasn't been shuffled to hell and back, because it has been. I mean, they just... Okay, wow, interesting. I think that's it. Is that it? No. That's a lot. Do I need all of these? Just one. Okay. So, 2 of Pentacles. The Tower. 3 of Swords. Judgment. Whoa. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy. I mean, as I said, like, finding the balance or finding that things start to fall apart very quickly. And what does balance even mean, right? With the 2 of Pentacles, we're looking at making sure that everything that we juggle in our lives, work, play, hobbies, self, care, creation, that they're all moving in a way that is sustainable, not just for each individual aspect, but for ourselves. Are you putting too much into one thing so that another thing suffers? Are you giving so much of yourself that everything that goes wrong feels like the end? Are you so concerned with what is outside of you that everything that happens to them, to it, to those things, feel like the end of your own world? Feel like such a drastic, painful, what's the word I'm looking for? Drastic, painful destruction. Tower moments are needed in a lot of ways. Things have to fall down, have to burn down in order for us to create something new from the ashes, right? But in this moment, the Tower moment simply comes from a lack of awareness of how to work with everything and how much to give to each individual thing. Similarly, 3 of Swords and Judgment. If we're so caught up in trying to fix things and trying to avoid difficult feelings and trying to avoid failure and trying to avoid pain, we might start acting in ways that don't actually align with our goals, our values, our authentic self, and push us to a place where we move in ways that hurt our ultimate goals, that hurt the people around us, and that lead to regret down the line. So really, what we need to do this week is, I'll get it eventually, pause. Wheel of Fortune. Pause and observe. Look at how everything around you is moving, is changing. Watch how the things that you directly influence move and change, maybe without you working towards them. What if you just take your hands off the wheel and let it go? Where would it take you? Which way would you turn? It's hard to release control, but sometimes letting go is what helps us avoid those intense tower moments, those intense moments of devastation, Three of Swords, despair. Sometimes letting go and recognizing that we cannot control everything is the thing that leads us to peace. And that's something to maybe grapple with, to experiment with, to try in the week to come. To see how just kind of letting things flow on their own gives you space to actually see that balance that we were talking about with the Two of Pentacles, and to actually find that balance within yourself. Now, once we find that peace, once we see where we don't need to hold on to control so tightly, the Chariot. The ways in which we can actually significantly impact through our force of will become clearer and more attainable and more inspiring. Once you see where your magic is actually needed, finding your groove, finding your stride, and moving forward in service of all that you wish to create, again, becomes easier, becomes clearer. Sometimes it takes letting things fall away or letting yourself see how you are not actually needed, or the things that you are working towards aren't actually needed, or the things that you're working on aren't actually needed by you, to find that focus and move forward again in a more aligned, clear, and sustainable way. Because the Chariot then is followed by the Knight of Cups. So what are we doing when we let everything else fall away? We are moving quickly, surely, dedicated towards what we truly desire in the depths of our hearts. It's a good week to dream big, and it's a good week to follow those dreams. It's a good week to start to take major steps towards something that you've wanted to build or create for a long time. After reflecting on the ways in which other things in your life are holding you back from doing so. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but that's really it. Where is your energy being pulled away so that you can't focus on these things? And how can you then, again, let those go a little bit? And maybe you can't, like, I mean, maybe it is you have like a full-time job that like is preventing you from having the energy to, pursue your creative projects or desires or ideas or dreams. And I can almost guarantee that you're giving your full-time job more effort than it deserves or than you're getting paid to, simply because that's just the nature of capitalism, baby. That's what we're all doing. And until you learn to Two of Pentacles, balance that energy. Until you learn to only give as much as is absolutely necessary and still receive what you need in return. Until you are able to do that, then yeah, you won't have the energy to follow your heart, your dreams, your goals, your desires. So finding that balance, letting go of that control, being honest with yourself about how maybe you are holding yourself back, opens up the possibilities, the space, the expansion for you to actually get what you want. And there's no better time than the present to go for what you want. And you might be thinking, Chop, what? The world is falling apart. Everything's too expensive. Like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, the world is falling apart. So if not now, when? Ace of Cups, Queen of Cups, Ten of Pentacles. Well, this was technically the very last card, so I'm going to come back to this. Because then we have the Nine of Cups. We have the 10 of Cups. So let yourself lean in to love, to desire, to intuition. If you feel like something is right, do it. If you feel like something is wrong, take a step back. But the opportunities this week for you to like fully align with yourself and again, your desires and your dreams and your hopes and all that stuff is present. The opportunity has arrived. Will you open yourself up and accept the work that it will take to take that on? Or will you shut it off? Will you ignore it? Will you say, I can't right now? And it's not to say if you say you can't right now, then the opportunity will never come again. But I would strongly encourage you to find a way to let it in at least a little. All the while, Queen of Cups, which is very much Venus energy, and when Venus is in retrograde, we are really being asked to look at the ways in which we show our selves, show our full selves, show ourselves love, engage in appreciation of beauty, inside and out. How we feel about the things that are, traditionally, I say quote unquote, traditionally seen as feminine. How we grapple with our internalized patriarchy. The ways in which we do and act because it is something that is expected of us versus what we actually want to do. This is a great week to try dopamine dressing, meaning just like, if you don't already, wearing whatever you want without caring about what it looks like to other people. Wearing makeup or not, depending on how you feel, and not worrying about what someone else is going to think about it. Queen of Cups also has deep emotional and intuitive intelligence. This is like care of mind, body, and spirit so fully that no matter what feelings come in, no matter what messages you receive, you can trust them. So we're exploring not just like our physical space and like what it feels to feel empowered and beautiful, again, inside and out. And when I say beauty, I'm not talking about like whatever is on the cover of Vogue this week. I'm saying what beauty means to you. What feels beautiful to you. What makes you feel beautiful and, again, empowered. And how acting and living and making choices in service of that, and like just choosing to be who you are and look how you want to look and dress how you want to dress and create an environment that inspires you rather than is based on resale value or whether or not you're going to get your security deposit back. Instead of worrying about that, worry about what makes you feel inspired, empowered, and full of love. Because then, all of it, your emotional health, your intuitive connection, begins to fall into place. We speak about intuition a lot as like this thing that is outside of us, right? But without our physical form, there is no connection to intuition. It is our mind, our hearts, that allows us to tap into these things. And so, when your physical space and environment reflects the inner self, then we are more open to what can be picked and pulled from other worlds. We are more able to regulate and feel safe, secure, and fulfilled in the places that we are supposed to feel safe, secure, and fulfilled. Am I saying go ahead and like grab your scissors and cut your own bangs? I mean, yeah, I've cut my own hair since I was 14. So like, yes, if you ever ask me, should I cut my bangs? Should I dye my own hair? I'm going to tell you yes. So if you don't want that, then don't ask me. Anyway, finally, 10 of Pentacles. Everything you do this week is going to have lasting impact in your life, in, again, your pursuits, in your legacy. So, what do you want that to look like? And how can you start now, today, or at least tomorrow, by next Sunday, to take steps towards the rest of your life? Bottom of the deck is King of Cups. So it's just a cups heavy week. Yeah. Act in service of your heart. Always. Trust your emotions. I mean, with the caveat of that, like, some of us, like, have things that, you know, whether they be imbalances or mental illnesses or whatever, that can make our emotions very difficult to trust. I would ask you to at least listen to them and ask why they're there. And if it's because you forgot to take your meds, then there's that. If there is some deeply rooted memory or fear or desire that is bringing up the responses of your body, your heart, then listen to that and see how you can serve it. Okay, that's officially the end. That's the message. For such a rough start, we really got into the good stuff there. I love that. That's so very encouraging. And wow, okay, I just keep looking over at my cats and they're so sweet. If I remember, I will like put a picture of them either at the end or like somewhere on the screen, but okay. Let's close our circle. Let's get on with our days. So if you'd like, you can join me once again in closing your eyes. Reimagining that elemental circle around you. Once again, feeling into wherever you are being held by what's beneath you. Take a big deep breath in. And as you exhale, your breath carries away your elemental circle, scattering salt, extinguishing fire, dissipating air, scattering sunbeams, letting water flow back away from you and maybe sinking into the earth, opening the circle and releasing the energy. I release the spirits and guardians of the west, the south, the east, and the north, sending you back to your place in the natural order with praise and with gratitude. I send the energy of all those watching and listening back to them whole, complete, and intact. I take my energy back to myself whole, complete, and intact. May we remain friends so our energies are no longer crossed, corded, or tangled at all, starting now. Take a breath. Feel your energy settle into you, all yours. The circle is open, and so it is. Cool. I can't believe I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but there's only like a little over a week left to register for Phasecraft if you want to get in on the full series. Like, whoa, so exciting. So 6-week tarot course coming up starting April 3rd, which is next week. Holy crap. Payment plans are available. You can sign up for individual classes instead of the whole thing if you want. But if you've been wanting to dive in with tarot, there's no better time like the present. So if you have questions, hit me up. Shoot me an email, leave a comment, whatever it is. But come to Phasecraft. It's going to be a blast. It's like my favorite thing that I do. So cool. All right. Well, that's all from me today. And I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll see you next time.